The head coach of Loyola Chicago basketball in his 7th season as such, Porter Moser, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach?
I'm great, Rich. Thanks for having me.
What in the world is this run like for you?
It's been an awesome ride, Rich. It really has, and it's been all for years putting together with high character guys. And anytime you go through something like this, and you have such a close knit group, and it just makes that ride much sweeter. But another huge factor is I'm from the Chicago area, born and raised, huge Chicago sports fan, Cubs, Blackhawks, Bears, Bulls, and I just to be able to have Chicago this excited and to go, it's an awesome sports town, a prideful sports town, and they're going crazy, and our university is. It's just been a great ride.
So who from, I guess, the Chicago sports circle has reached out to you that you either haven't heard from or you had heard from and you're excited to have heard from based on your run?
We've heard from everybody. I mean, a lot of the Cubs were tweeting, Joe Madden, Rizzo, John Lester's been tweeting out at Scottie Pippen, a lot of the Bulls, the Blackhawks organization, the Bears, the White Sox, every one of them. And it's really cool. I mean, Chance the Rapper reached out to one of our players. He's from Chicago. So it's just been a surreal ride for these guys because I'm telling you, it was a complete grassroots rebuild. I mean, there was a couple years ago that we didn't have, nobody was at our games.
How about Obama? Has he reached out?
Yes, he tweeted. He tweeted at Sister Team.
Yeah,
he did. He tweeted out, go Ramblers, and it's just really cool. I mean, there's just a ton of pride going around in the area.
Yeah, Sister Jean, huh? I mean, this is more than 15 minutes here, Porter. I mean, we're pushing an hour now. This is great. I mean, tell me about her and your first meeting with her. Back in the day for you, Porter?
You know what? So I got the job 7 years ago, and I met her obviously right away. But she's just our university comfort blanket. I mean, she's just energy, smiling. The thing that the country sees right now, her in a wheelchair, is not Sister Jean. She just had she had a leg accident. She's usually, you would have seen her going around, boogieing around in her Nikes, around campus, totally self-sufficient at 98. And she's just got a lot of energy, and think about it, she's 98. She's been there for like 60 some years, and just a fixture on our campus.
And and we're just seeing all the kids go up and hug her, and what's their relationship like? Your kids with her?
Well, she's our team chaplain. She says a prayer with our guys before the game, but she's got a relationship with the whole university, the student body. She's got an office at our Damon Student Center, and there's always students coming in and out of it. She just, she stops, talks to everybody, people. And so it's not just our team, it's the entire university. And, but the guys, she says, she huddles them up for a prayer before every game. And, she emails them after games, telling them, nice job and everything. And, even after the losses. So she's, just a comfort blanket. For our guys.
Well, and it's all working too, Porter. And, obviously there may be some divine power at work here because you are the first team since the 1981 St. Joseph team to win consecutive games in a single tournament, NCAA tournament, by 1 point. I mean, the margin of victory has been so slim. What has it been like for you and this team in the huddle? Game on the line, once again, where you guys just look each other in the eye and then execute?
We've been here so much, close games. We got a group of winners. It was by design. We set out building this thing. We got 7 guys on our team that won state championships, and they just believe. We practice the last 4 minutes of a game almost every day, like throughout the year. We'll put 4 minutes up, last 4 minutes, and so many situations come up. So you just find ways to win, and these guys believe. The other thing that's a huge trait of ours is our unselfishness. These guys are willing to pass it. Dante Ingram hits the game winner against Miami, is up on the podium, and he says, any one of these guys could have hit it. The next night, it was Clayton Custer. He gets up there and says, any one of these guys could have hit that shot. And then last night was so important. Clayton, a lot of times, a lot of guys, they hit one, and all the notoriety and publicity that came after Clayton hit that shot to send us to the Sweet 16, he comes off that ball screen, and a lot of guys would go, I'm going to do it again. And he drew a defender and kicked it to Marcus Towns, and then Marcus Towns hit it. And it's just there's a huge unselfishness and a confidence that in each other that we have in our locker room.
Porter Moser, head coach of Loyola University of Chicago men's basketball here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about your journey a little bit. Player at Creighton, right? So that was your first tournament action, if you will.
Yeah.
That was as a player back in 1989. I guess we won't talk about the game as a one and done if you don't, right? I mean, unless you want to.
I don't. Doug Smith hit a half-court shot at halftime. Trust me, I remember the game like it was yesterday. They were a loaded Missouri team. That one eats my crawl. But
Anthony Peeler and a bunch of guys out there.
Yeah.
So, but as you were making your journey as an assistant and then coaching at Arkansas, Little Rock, and Illinois State as the head of the program, a name that leaps out to me was when you were an assistant after Illinois State for Rick Majerus. And I'm wondering what did he instill in you, Porter, that perhaps you're pulling on right about now in this run?
Rich, he was a huge influence on my life and my coaching life. But, I went to Arkansas Little Rock, and I took over a program that won 4 games. And we had the rebuild going, won 18 or more every time I was there. And then I took the Illinois State job. And we had really Little Rock turned the corner. But I went to Illinois State, my state school, and they were at the time in last place. So I was in another rebuild. And I signed a 7-year deal because it was a last-place team at the time. And after 4 years, I thought we were primed to really make a jump. And the business part of it, we had a new AD. They bought out 3 years of my contract. And then I went with Coach Majerus. And that was the best experience because it solidified. Sometimes when you go through adversity, and if you do get another chance, you feel anxiety like maybe I got to skip steps because I got to have it happen faster because of the business and the expectations. And going with Coach Majerus, we just from the very beginning, he's like, let's do it with great kids that won. Let's teach them, develop them. The attention to detail of teaching and sitting in a boardroom and watching his mind work on game planning on how we're going to stop teams was, it was just a different experience. And when I got the job at Loyola, it was another grassroots rebuild. And he just kept on calling me that first year. He's like, do it the right way. Do it with winning kids. And it just solidified, there's a right way to do it. Don't skip steps. Don't fall into the trap of everybody wants it now. Build a program, not a team. And that's what we've done at Loyola.
And you got a great Majerus story for me? One that
oh my God, I got a whole journal of them.
Give me your favorite. Give me your favorite.
Oh man,
It involves dinner, food.
Some I
what
can't
do we got?
say on the radio.
I know.
But eating with him was such a pleasure. It really was. It was the hardest part of the job. Everyone said, you're going to go work for Coach Majerus. He's going to grind you to the bone. My coach isn't going to grind me to the bone. I'm used to working. The hard part is he wanted to go to dinner every night. And it wasn't just dinner. It was an event. Dinner was a 3-hour event. And I loved those things. He'd eat at Greasy Spoons. I remember going on a recruiting trip with him 3 hours away. We had 2 different stops at Culver's, for like an hour each stop. I'm like, Coach, maybe stop once. But he loved to talk and converse and talk ball. That book, My Life on a Napkin, is the most apropos book title. We've written X and O's on everything from napkins at Culver's to the fine linens on the hill, an Italian restaurant in St. Louis.
And then, Kansas State and Kentucky. Where'd you watch that, Coach? Where'd you watch that?
I was there doing a lot of the media stuff.
Okay.
And then my assistants obviously were courtside. I went out to the courtside for a little bit to watch them, and then we took the team back, and then I to the hotel, and we watched the rest here.
Okay. And then in the couple minutes I have left with you, the directions are all set, right? You know how to get to the arena because the bus got lost.
I tell you, what?
Week.
I said after the thing, I said, you know what? It's just we just have to just like having a couple of turnovers early in the game, you got to overcome it. And sure as heck, that's what happened. We had a couple turnovers to start the game, and we kind of had to overcome it and settle down.
There you go. You had to find the directions. How does a bus driver not find an arena, though? Doesn't it stick out like a sore thumb?
It really was. It wasn't the bus driver's fault. We were supposed to have a police escort, and I will say this. It is curvy. It is a path that you have to take to get to the underground of the arena, and the bus driver he'd never been there. And so we literally were going 35 minutes. And then the next day we went to our shoot-around, it literally took 4 minutes. 4 minutes from the hotel to there, and it took 35 the first day.
Hey, look, at least you found your way as you have throughout this tournament. My last one for you, because this has been such a conversation, Coach, that the lower seeds now are taking this tournament by storm, and that the playing field, if you will, has been leveled in major college basketball. Would you agree with that, and why?
I think it's great for the lower seeds. I think it's great for us. We felt we had a good team all year, and I know there was a lot of talk that we might not have gotten in if we didn't win the Missouri Valley tournament. And I hope this sparks conversation, because conferences like the Missouri Valley are great conferences top to bottom. And it's hard for us to schedule these huge schedules because, to get it, the other side has to agree to schedule a game. It's not us. And for us to make some noise in this thing is great for lower seeds. And I will say that about at this point, if a lower seed's gotten to this point, I know Kansas State's 9. They have found ways to win, really good teams. I mean, Kansas State is a 9. They are guarding at an unbelievable level. I mean, they're holding teams to, I think, 35%. And I played at Creighton. I've watched Creighton. I mean, they are as good offensively. And it's, you watch Kentucky. And you watched, Marymount County, what they did, in the Virginia game scoring. So they've had they're really good defensively.
Coach, really appreciate the time. The whole country's enjoying watching your team, watching the run. And say hi to Sister Jean for us, will you please?
Will do, Rich. Thanks for having me.
You bet, absolutely. That's Porter Moser, head coach of Loyola basketball here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.